Thank you for joining Effortless Attraction. My name is Evelyn McVeigh. I'm the author of A Life You Want, Effortless, and The Woman's Journey. I'm a life coach, business mentor, and inspirational speaker. And my greatest value is making a difference in people's lives. So I hope through these podcasts I can make a difference to your life.
Today's Effortless Attraction podcast is sponsored by Hassan Massage. With over 12 years' experience, at Hassan Massage we specialize in remedial massage therapy and deep tissue therapy. Every session is tailored to meet your needs, from stress, injury, mobility issues, or the body holding pain. Hassan Massage is located in Eglish County, Tyrone. For appointments or more information, contact Hassan Massage through Facebook or Instagram. Telephone number is located in the description of this podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another wonderful Effortless Attraction podcast. Well, today I am joined by the beautiful Patricia McVeigh. She's made the big distance to be here with me today. I'm very grateful. And some may know her as Walking Updates all over social media. Patricia, you're very, very welcome today.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. It's just a pleasure to be here.
That's great. You know, I'm always seeing you popping up on social media, and just before we come on there, I'm not on TikTok, but you are on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't. That was a COVID or a pandemic thing, a pandemic impulse. So everybody in our house seemed to be on TikTok, bar me. Well, Paul as well. But then, so our ones said to me, "You should be on it, Mummy. It's great crack." So I went on it, and now in I suppose 3 years, I've over 2 million followers. So I don't know how that happened.
Isn't that amazing?
It's great fun.
3 million followers on TikTok. On Instagram, you've probably 7,000 or 8,000.
Just over 7, just over 7.5 or something.
And then on Facebook,
just under the 40. It's a lot, 40,000.
40,000 people. That's a whole lot. You are an internet sensation, Patricia.
I don't know whether I am or not. I just am myself. I would never call anybody a sensation. Like, to be honest, that's different words to be used to me.
But do you see then, as you say, TikTok is for a lot of younger generation?
I think I would class that as young, but there's, you know, when you do fall down a rabbit hole when you go into it, and it opens up a whole different world, and you realise that it's really for everybody. It's not just for young people, and you find lots of different tips and hacks and just some really unusual, mostly useless information, but I quite enjoy that whole thing.
But you do know that a lady, whereas we say that, or people think as social media for younger people. Now you're a mature lady.
Indeed, I am.
You talked about hacks there now, which is somebody like, they were like, what? What is this woman on about? But let's get back to Walking Updates. How did it all begin?
Oh, crikey, how did it begin? It's 2017. Seems a long time ago now, you know, when you're discussing it. So I have to go back to 2016 that our mother had taken ill, and it didn't really start around that time. But you know, when you're caring for somebody, and my sister and I had moved into our home in Donegal, and we were very lucky. We had 2 good families that kept everything going at home, and we just trekked back and forth from Redcastle. And unfortunately for my mother, she had a touch of the dementia. This is a long-winded story, but I'll try and make it as quick as I can. But she had a touch of the dementia, so she loved fish and chips. Everybody knows now that, because I tell this story, that she loved fish and chips. So we decided to save ourselves getting cabin fever, that we would take her out every single day and go out for our lunch. So every day we went out for our lunch, and my mother decided that she would have fish and chips. But instead of saying I'll just have fish and chips, she always looked at the waitress and said, "God, you know, I haven't had fish and chips in ages," because the dementia was there. And she'd say, she had forgot, you see, from the previous day. So I think, she says, "Have you any fish and chips?" And the girls would either say yes or no. And I'll just have that. And that, I put 1.5 stone on in 14 weeks because we went out for lunch. So every single day, it didn't do me any favours because I was already overweight. So my mother passed away actually this weekend 7 years ago, the 19th of August. So after that, of course, you've got a grieving process, which again probably didn't help me. It probably either stayed the same or gained even more. So I got to just before Christmas, and I was going over to visit some friends of mine in Doncaster. I was flying to Leeds, and I got onto the plane, and I went to fast. I was in the middle seat. It's the worst seat you can ever get on a flight, like, regardless of what size you are, I think. I was between 2 gentlemen, and the 2 arms was raising because my hips was over the side, and I had to sit with my hands on the 2 arms, and the seat belt and I mean, I was a half an inch away from having to ask for an extension. And I think I held my breath the whole way to Leeds. So it was embarrassing to me. Nobody else was aware of it. I was just uncomfortable. So I swore when I got back off my holidays. Also, when I come back off that holidays, I saw the photographs of myself, and I just was not happy with what I'd seen. I was very bloated, and I was very just unlike myself, you know. And I would have a very outgoing, happy demeanour. I've never been any different, but I did feel a difference. I felt a shift in myself. And then a friend of mine, Denise, was in our house just before Christmas, around Christmas time, and she said to me, what about going out for a walk? And I looked at her as if she had 5 heads. And I was one of those people that I got to that stage where if I could have got my car in past the trolleys, where the trolleys are in Tesco, that's where my car would have been parked. I got to that stage, you know, and I said, yeah, okay, we'll go, but we'll go out in January. So we planned then for the January. I don't ever make New Year's resolutions, so we went out the following week because I knew I would never get it. So Denise then and I we probably walked together from the January till the March maybe, and then I carried on my own. But I started a slimming group at the same time. I thought, right, the same day, I'll just do that. And then what I did was, to shame myself into sticking with it, I took my phone out and I videoed myself. I think the very first video was 10 seconds long. And I videoed myself to shame myself. I put it up onto my private account. And just like, maybe the second one I did, or the third one, like nobody really seen my account, only friends and family, you know. And all of a sudden it was getting a bit of an activity, and then it got to the stage where people was writing to you. And so I think about a month in, it was a bit of a crack, and I'd lost a good bit of, like, the weight was starting to move, and nothing drastic, maybe 2 pounds, or I don't think I ever lost any more than 3.5 pounds a week. So cut a very long story short, that particular year I got to June, July, and had just over 3 stone off me, just under 3.5 stone. It was great. Felt absolutely brilliant. And then my friends that had visited in Doncaster in the December, they came to visit me, and just like it was a nice goal to head for them to see the difference in me, and I just felt great. Yeah. And also previous to that, when I think 2014, I had been diagnosed with diabetes type 2. So that was a big incentive to get that reversed, although I had been very lazy about it and thought, because they'd said to me you were sort of borderline, I just ignored it until I was at that stage where I'd have to go into some medication. And in the December of that year, it was all about the December, the doctor told me the next time he saw me, I'd probably have to go into medication. Mm-hmm. So that was another real good nudge to say, listen, kidda, you're no spring chicken, you need to get your act together here. So I did, and everything worked out for me to the better. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? As you said, to keep like an accountability. Yeah. I'm going to stick up a video here, and that would be. It was
really to shame myself rather than ask, but it did work. It definitely did work.
As you said, a lot of people find that extremely difficult, even listening to their own voice back again, watching their own video. But do you see then that even though you're making a difference to your life, because this is what Effortless Attraction is all about, making a difference for the better, I hope, to people's lives. You're making a difference to your life and to other people's lives, Patricia?
Well, I decided at that stage that Olivia said to me, my daughter said to me, you really need your own page here. Just take it away from your own and keep it more private so that, it just keeps the two things separate. So then we started up walking updates. So because I'll say, this is what we're doing today and this is it. So we couldn't think of a name, so we gave it that out of nowhere. So that was okay, we done that. And then, goodness me, inside a week with 1,000 followers, and I just thought, where are these people coming out? It was the strangest thing. It was saying social media really wasn't really my thing, but I enjoy. I'd been a hairdresser in a previous life. For about 100 years, I was a hairdresser, so I was, as you can tell, I wasn't scared of talking. And the conversation always flows, and if you're sociable at all, you're in that line of work, and it was great, and I loved it, and I chatted about everything that went on every day and what I've seen. I'd turn the camera around and show everybody what I've seen, and this is where I am, and everybody seemed to love that,
They find it very relatable.
Yeah, because you are who you are, and if you can't be who you are, I'm just that kind of person. Yeah. So there's no falseness. You can't be false if you're going to update every day.
Surely.
Do you know what I mean?
But I'm sure there must be times now when people are watching people on social media and they actually see you in reality. It's like, There has to be, come on, because I know when I see people and I say, oh my gosh, they're such and such.
It's good crack. Like, you know, like we were in Westfield over in, you know, in London. We were in the Westfield Centre. This woman came running up to us. My sister nearly took a heart attack. My sister's on very little social media, only Twitter.
Yes.
And she just thought I was being attacked. She didn't know. And this woman nearly fainted when she saw me. She was from London. Like, and like, we were not used to it. That sounds weird, but that sounds really weird if you say I'm used to it. But I am used to it, you know, because of people around us. And wherever we go, someone say, oh, hello, how you doing? And some people don't know your name because they think you're called walking. But it's lovely. And, you know, I think for those people to say hello to you, it's far better to say hello to somebody than not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's grand.
And that's the lovely joys and the highs, you know, that people come and they almost feel, this is a thing too, when you step onto social media, you're being very vulnerable and you're putting yourself out there. So with the social media end then too, there's the great things, and then I'm quite sure there's been the odd hard hit, Patricia.
There's an odd troll, you know, thrown in there for good measure.
And how do you become resilient to those?
I didn't get to 60 without saying, you know, you really don't matter to me. Like, those people don't matter to me in my life. If they don't have my phone number, they're not really people I'm going to worry about.
Yeah.
So, you know, I remember I bought my first pair of leather trousers.
Yes.
When I lost the weight, and it sort of turned into Trousergate because somebody called me mutton dressed as lamb on my page, you know, and there was a big. But I thought I had a lovely, really nice, like a demure top on me. I had my handbag, I had my matching shoes, my boots. I thought I looked fantastic. And then when you get somebody to criticise that, you get a bit of a, you know, it stings. But you just have to say, listen, on that particular post, I had over 1,000 comments and likes. Everybody thought I looked absolutely glorious and fantastic. Whereas this one person was stinging me, and really that shouldn't be the way, that shouldn't be the balance. You should say, listen, that really says more about you than it really does about everybody else, you know? And I think if you can get that mentality on it and get that twist on it, those people are never going to annoy you.
Yeah.
And really what we should be saying is, you know, as my granny used to say, I'm sure you have a hall mirror. You have a wee check in it and, you know, come back and see me after you've checked yourself.
That's
you know,
right.
we all have, nobody on this planet is perfect.
No.
So think before you open the mouth, or you go to the keyboard, or you put it into print. You know, I would have been a person, years ago, I would have been judgmental. That was the kind of us all, you know. And you learn to move with the times, you learn to accept, hopefully accept everybody around you and the way that they live their lives. And it's not important. It's important to them if they are happy. And that's what you have to say. That's grand. If you're happy, like your children, you want them all to be happy. You don't want people to be sad in this world. So that's when you have to step back and say, gosh, I'm just pleased you're happy. Yeah. So I want people to be happy for me too. Like, yeah.
And you mentioned the key word, judgment. Well, firstly, I think a lot of us, if we can let go of judgment on ourselves, I believe that the only reason why we do judge others is because we do hold judgment on ourselves. Or how we fear judgment from others is because we judge upon others. But I think a fabulous thing, Patricia, to step out there and say, this just isn't for the teenagers, the size zeros, the size, you know, you're not
get in there and enjoy your life, you know?
Yeah, because I think our bodies are here to be celebrated, as is life.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And to step and it's a very, very brave thing, you know, be putting yourself out there. As you say, most days I'm collecting eggs, and you talk about food, and it's about the body.
I do an odd recipe. I'm not that good, like I'm burning odd bits and bobs, like, but I try my best. Nobody has passed out in our house yet for me food, and they're all right. They're living, so they're okay. You know, it's plain dinners. I don't get carried away, but I go to the egg machine, and I try and shop local. I try and look after people if I can, you know, around me, that if I can help in a tiny, tiny way, like, you know, it's just nice to give back if you can.
Have you been out at many motivational things? I see you as a woman standing on the stage doing a wee talk or something.
I think I don't know when to. I need somebody with a big clapping board saying to me, "Stop, Patricia," because I don't know when to stop. So I would take over the whole show. So it would be a one-man show.
You should have your
too
own
much, like,
chat
for
show.
anybody around. I'd drive them all mad. So no, I do. I'm a sociable person.
Yeah.
You know, I am a social butterfly. I love events. I love going and meeting people. Nothing I hate worse than not. Like, I would talk to anybody in a supermarket before I'm finished. I take 2 hours in Tesco's or Lidl or wherever. You know, I'm always on the go. Like, and
but all them wee things make a difference, because You know, I say you don't know what's going on in anybody's head that day. You don't. People could look one way and their head's another way. And just to stop to say, how are you today? And actually really mean that. How are you doing?
Do you know something? Well. Was a lady said to me, and I get some of the nicest compliments on this planet. I am so lucky. And I am, every day I'm blessed for that. Those ladies said this week, actually it might have been Tuesday, I do a Tuesday video every single week after I come out of my class. And I'm sitting in the car and I do my video, and somebody said to me, you really made me smile today. And you know, that's kind of all the things, and it seems weird at my age, but it's nice. Some people don't see anybody else in their house in a whole week or whatever, and they see my videos. So I get lots of those messages saying, God, only for you I wouldn't have heard this or whatever. And they're going ordering off certain sites, or they're going to places, or I do an odd Marks and Spencer's haul, whereas, you know, I'm going to go for the yellow stickers and, you know, all that. I take my trolley, and even the staff in Marks and Spencer's all know me.
Because you're walking right like...
And they'll say, watch your videos, and it's just lovely to have that feedback. It's so nice.
Well, that's, you know, you inspire others. For I think I wrote about in a book, it's like a dance floor. If everybody sits back, the dance floor is always going to be empty. It takes someone. So I'm quite sure you've inspired many a woman to get up and get out and go for a walk and to celebrate life.
I was thinking, it doesn't really matter if you've got designer shoes on you, designer trainers on you, or a pair of old ones out of Dunn's or wherever they're from, as long as you're out of the door and you're on the road and you're out, it clears your head. You know, I can plan my whole day out in one walk, and you might only be out half an hour, but you get the freedom to do that. And, you know, I don't always take a phone with me. I just go out and walk and I swing my arms about, but I'm listening to everything around me, and, you know, nature's a lovely thing. And I missed all that for so many years, you know. I really did miss it, and I'm glad that I've done it, and I'm very grateful for everybody around me that helped me along on the road I went.
Yeah.
But then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And that changed an awful lot of people, changed everything. It changed me, it changed my lifestyle, because my business closed literally overnight, and then we were all locked in, as everybody was, and I did the baking and I done everything else, and I ate, and I put a good bit of the weight back on. I put about half of it on. And that was hard, because I was such a public face, and not as, you know what I mean, people knew me and they knew what I was doing, and then I thought they would judge me again, that I would be judged for, well, what's the point in her doing those videos if she's put this weight on? And because I'm just the same as everybody else, I'm human, and it happened, and I'm still trying to lose that weight. I'm still trying to lose some of the weight, but it's not, the pressure's been taken. I give myself the permission to not have pressure on myself anymore.
Well, isn't that wonderful there?
As Nick Kelly says, pressure's for tires, and it is for tires, not for us.
But you know, I have seen where I've worked with women that perhaps were a size 20 and they wanted to come down to a size 16, and they may have achieved that, but then they were no happier being the size or whatever it is, because it's part of the journey.
It is, absolutely.
Isn't it?
And if you don't enjoy that journey, if you're forever pushing yourself to reach the newer part, when you get there, you know, is it any better than the place you left? Sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
And unless you sort of do, like, I'm really lucky. I've catalogued this whole journey. I mean, goodness me, my phone storage can't take much more, you know, and I have to keep deleting, and I'm really sad to delete some of the videos because I love them. But I think when you've catalogued it, you actually learn from yourself, and you learn from all the people around you, and you learn from all the lots of places you've been to and you've travelled to and whatever else, and everybody's shared that. You feel as if you've shared it with people. And then I've got to the stage where I was beginning to put an awful lot of pressure on myself to return to the weight that I'd lost, if you know what I mean.
Yes. So
that got to last July 2022, and I got to the stage where I thought, I don't think I want to do my page anymore. I don't feel good about myself. And then I really stopped, and like you're saying, you touch a lot of people's hearts, you touch a lot of people's their day, you touch their coffee break. You know, a lot of people say, I put my coffee on. I meet men, this sounds really strange, I meet men that say to me, oh, I heard you, but I know you by your voice. And I just give them a sideways look as if I say, sorry. And they go, oh, my wife listens to you in bed.
Oh, well, there you go.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm there, and they might not be listening to me, but then
Surely.
By the time they finish, they know everything about me too. Like, so
yeah.
That's lovely. So then, anyway, the pressure had to be taken off me. So I decided last July, it was actually my two best friends in England said to me, you need to make a decision. You either come off this or you do something about it. So they weren't telling me what to do, but they were trying to give me the outside advice, and I took it, and I said, right, I'm going to stop annoying. So I stopped updating everybody every week on the actual amount that I was losing or putting on. And that was a game changer. Because people didn't really need to know whether I'd lost a pound or gained a pound. But I was making myself feel guilty if I was putting that pound on. So that was hindering my progress. And I didn't realise that at the time. So even in a year, if I haven't lost a pound, I'm still in a better place. Which I have lost a bit more, but anyway. You know, and so I noticed even now this year alone, I just feel a lot happier.
Yeah.
So
isn't that, I absolutely believe, I believe everyone's search, I truly believe that it's for inner peace. I do believe that everybody has the same underlying belief somewhere in us all that we're not good enough, and we're in search of that inner peace. And you can have that inner peace in a cardboard box or a mansion. You can have also pure misery in it, and you can have it in a size, whatever, to this.
Absolutely.
It's what makes people and feel, but you've life. You've loads of life. And just talking about your business, give us a twirl.
I know, gosh.
You were so good, Patricia, because when I was doing the launch of my first book, A Life You Want, I contacted Patricia.
Who was that?
I think that was about 2019.
It must be the year before COVID, wasn't it?
And I reached out to Patricia and I said, Patricia, could I borrow one of your lovely dresses? And I just thought, either go big or go home.
Absolutely,
And
you look very glamorous.
She gave me a beautiful gold. It was like a lovely gold disco-y ball.
Shimmery number.
Yeah. So I must just say thank you so much for all of that. So where do you see Patricia? Now I know you get invited to all these big gigs and on all
See,
that.
there again, COVID changed that. Pandemic changed my whole page because I had nothing to report on. So then it was the strangest thing, because then suppose the egg machine, like that's it, I'm using that as an example. It's not the whole everything, but like different places, like different shops would have reached out to me and said, do you want to come and do a little try on for us? They were struggling too, and rightly so, you know, everybody was struggling. So I would have gone to a plus size shop, or I would have gone to just loads of local places, some further away, you know, you would have been invited different places. And at the end of the day, I started to charge them because my platform was growing. So I was advised to sort of put a little fee on it, and, you know, all declared, don't get me wrong here. But I mean, I had no income, personal income to myself. Yes, we were in the haulage, but I didn't have my own, and I missed it. And I love that whole thing. So then I knew that they would, it's classed as a micro-influencer, because I've got such a small amount of following compared to some of the bigger ones, but I really enjoy it, you know, and it's lovely. You can help out certain charities as well, and, you know, but it's nice to be involved in different aspects now that I never thought I would ever done. So the whole dynamics of my page has changed. Now, don't get me wrong, I probably lost a few followers along the line, but I also gained some as well. So it was swings and roundabouts for me. So, but then my life had changed too. So people had to come with me on my journey, and that journey was continuing in that direction. So then I got very brave, and in lockdown, I started doing makeup tutorials. Oh. I think I thought it was my daughter, you know, because Olivia, my daughter, is a makeup artist, and she said to me, do you want to? You can do it the best. So I was doing it for my age group. You know, I was just doing it the way that I would do it, nothing really fancy, whatever, but it was great crack. I'm very successful.
Very good. Well, I'll tell you, if you've seen my makeup, I'm still using my fingers. Eyeshadow, done.
Well, I've progressed a wee bit further on than that. I haven't. And then, of course, I wear a tan. So I've been an affiliate with Bellamianta now for 6 years, 7 years maybe. So I just love that, you know. And I never, ever, ever talk about something that I don't use. Yes. Because I think, keep it real. People needs to relate to you. I do the teeth whitening, the polishing. Just those companies I've been with for such a length of time now, and you don't be with them if you're not happy. Good. So I don't really branch out into big things. But I do. So tell me,
the phone is part of you. Because you said it's the first time you've ever switched it off here today.
I didn't even know how to switch it off.
Isn't that amazing?
Honestly, goodness, I never turn it off.
How do you, so that it doesn't become an extension of you? Is there anywhere that it doesn't go?
Oh, absolutely. You have to just know. Like, I'm old enough to know when not to take a phone out. Like, I'm not that. Sometimes it's left in the glove compartment of a car, you know, or slip it into the one next to you on the door, in the driver's door. Yes. And I just go, that's grand. Yeah. Bedtime, you have to just say, you know. At the end of the day, and then there's even something, you know, I don't watch an awful lot of television. Actually, when I started walking in the evenings as well, if I have 2 walks a day, 2 small walks, I started 7 years ago stopping watching soaps. I realised, I think I watched so many soaps, And I was sitting watching people that were depressed and drinkers, alcoholics, that were, you know, all going to kill each other, all mass murderers, they were all whatever. And I'm thinking, in that time that's on, I could have a walk done, you know. Yeah. And I think my life might be better than theirs because it was all fictional, of course. And you do get sucked into that whole soap land, you know. So I haven't watched the soap in probably 7 years. Yeah. 6 years, at least 6 years. And I think I'm for the better of it, to be honest with you. Like,
well, isn't it a wonderful thing? I love that people get, it's that creativity. I think once you get creative in yourself, it brings you alive, doesn't it, Patricia?
Absolutely.
And your own business. And I love that when people create a business just from your passion. That's how effortless I think it can be.
Take that step.
Yeah.
Take that one step and have no regrets. You know, what's the point in having a regret? There's boys in the graveyard, they'd be glad of taking those steps, you know, or ladies should have said.
And it's the same thing if you get one no or you get a bad comment, if that's all that it takes to put you know, you have to keep going on. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, as I say, they do sting and they can hurt.
Yeah.
And I really don't understand. I was actually having that conversation with somebody this morning. I just can't understand what anybody gets out of that.
Yeah.
And how does society get to that stage where that is actually, well, it's not allowed because nobody agrees with it. But how did people progress that they wanted or felt that they could do that to another human being? That is just like not nice.
Yeah.
You wouldn't walk up to somebody in the street, a complete stranger, and start criticising what they had on them.
Yeah. You
might get a punch in the nose before you'd be finished. Like, but I mean, who would do that? You wouldn't do that because that wouldn't be allowed. But all of a sudden, you can do it through your phone or a keyboard.
And that's, you see, I always say, if you put yourself out in social media, I know in one of my books, it must have upset somebody actually reading the book because they left a review on Amazon. Now, I think if Amazon was able to give -stars.
Oh my goodness.
I think I got about a 1. Anyway, I think the name that they created was a character name out of a book. I can't think of it now. Mary Poppins, say something like that. Well, they couldn't have thought of anything nice to say. But you know, at the start reading it going, gosh. But I am so grateful to that person. I actually made an impact in their life that they took time out of their day to create a false character to leave a review. Yeah. And I thought maybe they didn't get to the chapter yet of gratitude. But the difference that divides, and it's not to look down on anyone, and the same with yourself, Patricia, everything that I put out there on social media, I put out under Evelyn McAleer. I don't hide behind nobody else's name. And everything that you put out there, you put under Patricia McVeigh.
They can all trace me back. There's no problem. I am quite open in everything I do. And I just think any fake profiles, if somebody follows me or asks me to follow them back and they haven't got any posts, then I don't follow them. You know, if they've got, I just don't. I'm too busy to be worrying about fake people, like. Yeah. You know, and I don't understand it.
If you've nothing good to say, if you've nothing good to say, and I always think too, because sometimes, now I say about judgment, if there's things come up on social media and I feel myself getting irritated, just unfollow.
Just unfollow those people. You're better to walk away from them.
Yeah. Because if I'm putting that energy out for somebody else, by God, it's going to come back to me.
And it eats into your day, you know, it eats into your mind. And you know, it's like my mother used to always said to us, in order to gain respect, you have to give respect. Yeah. And it's a very quick sentence, but it means an awful lot. And there's an awful lot of lack of respect for people. And that's maybe an old-fashioned look on it. But I think if you have a little bit of respect underneath it all, it goes in a lot of different directions. And it's like a vein, it just travels and it leaves it that you lead it. I don't mean I lead a saintly life, I certainly don't. But think before you, just give it a second before you think, am I going to upset somebody by doing this? Or am I going to really, as you say, we don't know what people are thinking. We don't know what's going on in their head. When I was young, we never had to do that. That was never a thing people talked about. People's feelings, people's mental health, that was something that was never discussed. But now it is. And if you move with the times, you've got to stay with the times. And you've got to appreciate people's lifestyles. You've got to appreciate the way they live their lives and who they live it with. And you have to say, that's grand, you know? But as I say, as long as people's happy, I'm happy, you know?
And that's it. Patricia, I'm going to say a huge thank you. I'm going to say to anybody we're here, by the way, on video, on Spotify. I should have said that at the very, very start. And audio on all other podcast platforms, and at a later date I'll upload it to my YouTube channel. But for any ladies or gentlemen out there that are looking to be inspired to have more life, this is the woman to go and follow her more, you know, what's happening. And or she's Slimming World you go to?
No, I go to Unislim.
Oh, sorry there.
It's all right. There's a whole load of different places, let me tell you.
And,
each to their own. I go to Unislim and
yeah,
I love it.
and
It's in Dungannon.
just about life in general, Patricia, isn't it? So you can get her on, as we said.
Oh, walking updates everywhere, really.
Yeah.
You know, I think the only place I'm not on walking updates is on Twitter.
Are you
And
on
that's-
LinkedIn too?
I'm on LinkedIn too. Gosh.
Patricia, thank you so much for your time today and your wonderful chats. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're absolutely welcome. I've enjoyed every minute of it. The cold is just sitting, so the voice is a wee bit low, but we're still there and I can still talk.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I've loved it. Thank you so much.
If you would like to become a paid subscriber to Effortless Attraction, you'll find the link in the main profile. Every subscription makes a difference to my life, and you'll also receive exclusive podcasts. Thank you so much for your continued support.